I now recognize Mr. McDowell for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to the witnesses for being here to testify before the subcommittee today. Mr. Boland, I want to discuss pilot mental health and the recommendations in last year's reauthorization bill. As you know, aviation professionals such as pilots and air traffic controllers are required to report if they seek mental health care, but admitting to receiving mental health care can result in a bureaucratic paperwork shuffle at the FAA that prevents pilots from going back to work. This is unintentionally punitive, in my opinion, and it eliminates the incentives for aviation professionals to seek mental health treatment that they need. With that in mind, how would you recommend that the FAA address this issue while prioritizing the safety of our airspace first and foremost?
Well, I think a couple of things are happening in this area, and I think, as we heard earlier, 1 in 4 adults is impacted by this issue. It is significant in scope, and the risks are significant. So we've got to do things where we understand better what the options are. There was a aviation rulemaking committee, and ARC put together on mental health that completed its work and has made recommendations. And then, of course, the FAA Reauthorization Act of 2024 focuses on the medical, aeromedical office, but specifically focuses on mental health as well. So I think understanding more about what we are talking about and understanding those treatments. We heard Captain Revan talking about the peer-to-peer focus at his airport. I think the important thing is we find ways for people to come forward, to destigmatize, and then to take the appropriate steps based on what the situation is today, not what has happened years ago, or finding new ways to move forward. And there has been progress. We have seen medications that are now available that were not before. So I think we are making progress, but I think this has to remain a front burner issue for everyone in the United States, but particularly the aviation community.
Sure. Thank you. Captain Revan, same question to you. How would you fix current policy to ensure that pilots aren't punished for seeking help?
So thank you for the question, Congressman, and I agree with much of what Mr. Boland said. In addition to that, we've had some very productive meetings with the FAA administrator or flight surgeon, Dr. Northrup, and she's been very open to our inputs. The 8500, the Form 8500 that you accomplish when you're getting ready for your flight physical, that's in need of update. There's questions on there that just shouldn't be asked. I think that one should be asked differently. Sure. That you referred to, the amount of look back that you have to go, okay, I have to keep track of each doctor's visit that I did for how many years. So I told you that last year, so I'm just trying to do this form correctly. Some of it's just redundant, and it's overly burdensome on the member. That's probably the most important one to me that you mentioned about the pilot mental health question. I think we need to look at how we word that and what we do with that information. We have a group that meets regularly, and I would be happy to provide some bullets. We did this for Secretary Duffy when he first kind of came out of the gate after the Midway incident. He said, "Hey, what should we be looking at? Through our government affairs and our subject matter experts, we provided a huge list of bullets. I would be really, I would be hopeful that I could do that for you in this area too, sure. As far as the Form 8500 and the mental health.
Well, I appreciate it. And Captain, I got another question for you. Everybody in this room is familiar with the FAA's issues with outdated air traffic control equipment. In your testimony, you say that the FAA must move faster to address these concerns, but in your view, what, if anything, is preventing the FAA from moving quickly to modernize ATC equipment, particularly in light of congressional support for equipment modernization and recent directives from the Secretary?
So to me, it's appropriations. So we've got the bill, we've decided how much money we've got to spend, but now we've got to responsibly put it where it needs to be to get those folks. And delays, I've heard this in the military a ton of times, and you've all heard this, freedom isn't free, but I would say the same thing is even more so about safety. We've got to get the funds out there and get the money spent and get the projects underway, as fast as possible to avoid another mishap.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
The gentleman yields back.